Beepity beep beep beep. Live from Wellston, Georgia, it's another episode of the Wartown Times. Be sure to stay up to date by joining the Wartown Times Facebook group on the Facebook.
Welcome back to another edition of the Wartown Times. I'm your humble author, narrator, and fictional character, Daniel Lewis Crumpton. And democracy's dumb. Democracy is idiotic. It is the epitome of stupidity. And if you believe that this country is a democracy, then you clearly went to government school and regurgitated everything that they programmed you to believe back on a piece of paper and got some kind of a degree and probably think highly of yourself. This country is not a democracy. It's to the republic which it stands. And a republic is ruled by law. Whose law? The Creator's law. And what the Creator's law is that your individual freedoms and liberties are protected so long as you don't infringe upon others. Democracy is mob rule. Democracy is, as Benjamin Franklin would say, two wolves and one sheep voting on what's for lunch. In a republic, the sheep has a gun. So democracy is 50% plus one. So in a democracy or mob rule, 50% plus one can override your individual rights and your individual freedoms and liberties. I can't think of a better example of how moronic a democracy is than this recent controversy we've been following with the Charlie Bibb controversy. And if you've been following us, you know that in the last city council race between incumbent Charlie Bibbity Bibb Bibb and L. Ellis Carter, it came down to 3 votes. And there were 2 provisional votes that were up in the air. So on November the 14th, the Houston County Board of Elections had a meeting where they were going to certify the election and listen to citizens' comments. And at this Board of Elections meeting, once the provisional votes were counted, it did come out to Charlie Bibbity Bibb Bibb, the incumbent, as the victor with 1 vote. Now, okay, even if democracy is a good thing and he had 50% plus 1, that would, I guess you could go home and pat yourself on the back for that. However, there are still allegations up in the air from Houston County Democrat Party Chair Kristen Kiefer and others that Charlie Bibb procured that 50% plus 1 vote by breaking the law, by breaking election law. So at the November 14th meeting of the Board of Elections, when the provisional votes were counted, that's how it came out. Charlie Bibb has 50% plus 1 and allegations up in the air that he broke the law to do so. So what we wanted to do, we sent Wartown roving reporter Rick the Recycling Bin to this meeting to get the footage that was appropriate of Kristen Kiefer and other citizens who were there, including NAACP Jonathan Johnson and other citizens, expressing their concerns and also saying that they were firsthand witnesses to Charlie Bibbity Bibb Bibb violating election law at their polling locations. And we wanted to show that to you unedited here. And, Rick, the roving reporter recycling bin of Wartown, he did let us know that Charlie Bibb was not at this meeting. Now, Ellis Carter was at this meeting. Charlie Bibb was nowhere to be seen. And that's interesting because the last that we've heard in the media that Charlie Bibb had to address any of these allegations was that it wasn't him and you can talk to his mother effing lawyer. And he didn't bother to show up. Rick, the Wartown roving reporter recycling bin, did inform us that he was brave enough to send the women and the children in as his designee to observe the recount. And again, as a minister, I am not quite sure what church is instructing Charlie Bibb. However, this reminds me of chapter 4 of the book of Judges. If you've never read the book of Judges, you ought to pick up chapter 4. There was the judge Deborah, who was judging over the people of Israel, being the voice and the arm and the eyes and the ears of the Lord. And the head of the Israelites there, Barak, would not go into battle without Deborah going into battle with him. So Barak didn't get the honor after the battle. So it was, to me, as a minister of the Lord myself, it smacked very much of sending in the women and the children to be cannon fodder when he himself wouldn't bother to show up to dispute the allegations or speak for himself. It's like if Charlie Bibb were on Titanic, he would be Billy Zane. Anywho, so we wanted you guys to hear the citizens' comments and the result of the provisional votes unedited, and then we'll come back with a little bit of commentary near the end. Democracy's dumb.
There being none, we move on.
Next item of business is public comments. For public comments, you can raise your hand and go and state your name and then make your remarks. Ladies first. Good morning.
Hi, I'm Kristen Kiefer.
What's your name?
Kristen Kiefer.
Okay.
We all call tonight from outside Monty Precinct. To let you know that there's a community analogy. There's been a little bit of some confusion, I think, in the media about that, particularly regarding, kind of like a denial of fees there and all that other sort of thing. I wanted to mention that, the community I passed in a couple of feet of each other, both in and out, right? So like, it's not like I did not see him up close. I did. I just did not get any closer to take photos so that I wasn't breaking the rules myself by being too close to the polling location. And I think that it's probably, not really fair that we do back accountability because one of us was willing to break the rules and this wasn't. The other things that I wanted to kind of talk about from that incident, I think most people are beyond that are probably fairly familiar. There were still a couple of voters in line, those provisional voters, as it turns out. There was two that were inside the room voting that came back out while he was there, and then there was two more that went in and ended up being the provisional ballots. And he was still inside after they left as well. I was standing there in the far away again when the tape was printed, but still to be able to clearly see the poll manager hand it to him first before hanging it up on the door. And so I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the issues that the board might feel help with that, if y'all are receptive to that. I've served as an observer in local, federal, state, general, runoff, special, inside, outside, credentialed, uncredentialed, as any kind of poll watcher that you can possibly be, I've served as that poll watcher, right?
Again, if you got cell phone, if you don't mind, silence your cell phone, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
I know that there was a comment made that somebody thought that he might be a poll watcher. I've never walked into a polling location and not been asked for my letter, so I think that might be something that we want to discuss as far as voter protection goes. Two, is there a way that we can make sure that people are able to identify candidates going forward? And, three, I got the feeling that, maybe we weren't kind of paying attention to the clothing that he had on, because I know there's been some like, well, I remember he was wearing a white t-shirt, I don't remember to have that on it. So maybe we can talk about how we make sure that we're paying attention to people's clothing when they come in, because, like I said, I was observing a ton of elections in Houston County. I'll be the first one to brag. Our board is great, our elections staff is great. I think our county commission has done a great job of making sure that all of those things are true. And so I'll be the first one to tell people, I'm proud of the work that our board does and the way that our elections run. But that said, I've seen people turn away at plenty of other locations for a campaign t-shirt. And it didn't happen this night, and that's one of those, other things that I have a question about. Obviously, we all know how very close this election is. I know that federal and state elections kind of get all the attention as far as, voter protection and this sort of thing goes, but, we're down to one vote basically determining this election. And, I think maybe we should try to refocus a little bit on how to put that same level of effort that we do into federal elections back into the local ones. You know, this is a means of, this is when each individual vote is the most important it can be, right? And local elections are what govern our day-to-day lives. So, and then my only other question is, you know, it was, my thought was that the right thing to do was to report this directly to y'all, and just trying to see how that went. Obviously, knowing that this would not, nor should it, have anything to do with the outcome of the election. You know, every ballot cast should be valid. You know, nothing that the candidate did should make anybody vote not count. This is not their fault. But anyway, that said, you know, I called the reporter to y'all because I think that's assuming that was the right thing to do. I, you know, followed some of the news coverage and heard from Mr. Holland at some point that you know, my specific complaint as far as the candidate is concerned might not be heard. And also saw the Secretary of State's office comment that I should have sent it directly to them. In case anybody in the room did not know, hi, I'm a rule follower. So I want to make sure that we are handling this complaint correctly. You know, as far as me being, you know, the person who first-hand witness it, and so, you know, is there a next step that I should take or should have taken to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as far as this is concerned? And how can we work with y'all to kind of address the issues? We, as a community, everybody, obviously, how can we work to make sure that things like this don't happen in the next election? And that's it.
Anyone else have comments concerning that issue?
Yes, that's basically what came to my mind. I've been here in Georgia for 2 years.
Can you state your name first, please?
Don Little.
Okay.
I've been in Georgia for 2 years. You've been working with the polls and being inside observers and outside observers and things like that. And when I went to vote, I happened to have a shirt on that had a candidate on it. I was told to turn it inside out. I'm just wondering why this didn't happen also. It just seems to me it's inexcusable. And secondly, I would think a candidate, especially an incumbent, would know that. Because, you know, I was new, I didn't know it, but I learned real quick, and I'm sure that I would think a candidate who is an incumbent would know that.
My name is John Johnson. I'm Houston County NAACP president. Basically, we're talking about Charlie Bibb. Charlie Bibb knew what he was doing. He went over to the Mossy Creek precinct, and what he did, he went inside the precinct. I guess it was his friend or his buddy or someone that let him in. And they sat down and they had a conversation. Charlie Bibb was also able to communicate with some of the poll workers and the voters that was in there. He had 7 minutes before the polls closed, but he still went inside that election. He wanted to know what the score was. He wanted to know, could he get one more last vote? And that's what Charlie Bibb did. Charlie Bibb also probably saw Mrs. Karen here. And the thing about it was, Miss Karen saw him. She wasn't a pizza delivery lady. She wasn't delivering pizzas that day. She's not an Uber driver, and she's surely not bringing some type of item to Mossy Creek. She was there because that's her job. That's what she does. This is her profession. She knows those candidates. She knows the faces. She knows the names. She knows everything because she works with the Democratic Party. She immediately called her supervisor when he entered that building. And when he entered that building, she called the supervisor. They said, take a video and take some pictures. And that's what she immediately did. Take a video and take the pictures. When she did that, she continued to sit on site to see Charlie Bibb exit the building. And luckily we got a person like Miss Karen. We need to give her a round of applause because that's what job we did today. He did a great job. He's doing a job. Keeping the integrity of our campaign. The next thing was the poll worker. The poll worker allowed Mr. Charlie Bibb inside the election. At that moment, she should have called her supervisor and said, hey, Mr. Charlie Bibb is in our office. What should I do? She did not even call for backup. They continued to talk, continued to have conversation, and went on with their day. She should be terminated. She should have not worked in any polls no more in the Houston County district. Another thing, we are the NAACP stands behind Mr. Ellis because Mr. Ellis is here for one thing and one thing only. He wants a fair and a just and an equal opportunity to serve the people here in Houston County. And it's up to you all, the board, to give him that opportunity because this was taken from him. If he would have knocked on that door at the Board of Elections over there at Mossy Creek, he would have been denied interest. The reason Charlie Bibb was offered the interest because Charlie Bibb had friends over there. And Charlie Bibb, if you look at the scorecard, Charlie Bibb won more votes in the Mossy Creek precinct than any other area in Warner Robins. So he knew where to go to get his votes. Sounds to me like Donald Trump. He knew the call. He went to call Georgia to get him some extra votes. So, you know, Charlie Bibb didn't call. Charlie Bibb decided, I'm going to walk down there and I'm going to knock on the door. Because I know the people down there at the election and they let him in. Now you ask Ellis, did he go in? Ask Ellis, was he invited in? He'll tell you no. Now we've got a margin of only 2 votes. I mean, with 1 vote, a margin. How can we not say that margin wasn't taken from Ellis because of Charlie Bibb walking in there saying, will you vote for me? I'll look out for you, buddy. I need that vote. How can we say that this is not a tie right now? We can't say it because Charlie Bibb broke the Houston County Board of Election rules. Point blank. That's all I'm saying.
My name is Richard Weldon. I'm Warner Robins. I have a question within the question. First of all, where is Charlie Bibb polling location? Can you all say that? Where is he supposed to vote?
Yes, we know where he's supposed to vote.
I can tell you from the news last night there was fake news.
Yeah, we know where he's supposed to vote. Yeah.
Okay. I went to the House of Pavilion to vote. Charlie was in his truck and I passed him within the 50-yard radius of the building. He hollered at me, hey, you know, that kind of thing. It didn't register me then I'm saying, you know, he's within the 50 feet because he had some poll workers of his own on the other side of the signs, which they was okay. But him being in his truck, leaving House and Pavilion, then I was wondering, like, what he was doing in there? Because that's why I asked, where does he vote at? Because he could go there to vote, you know, if that was one of his polls. But other than that, being in that area with the same T-shirt and stuff on, to me it was a violation also. But then once I got there, they told me I couldn't vote there, that I had to go down to the Wellston Center to vote. Because I moved to the Carl Benson area, but I did not put in a new registration card showing my new address. So that's why they told me I had to go to the Wellston Center and vote, and which I did. And a lot of times, like you say, people get deterred by that and say, well, I ain't voting, I'm not running all over Warner Robins to vote, when I could have just voted there, possibly on a provision also. But I wouldn't offer that. So, here again, with that being said, he knows me, Charlie knows me. And upon passing me, coming up, past the limit, he was inside of that. you know, so. With all that said, I'm just thinking, I don't know if just that arrogant or what for him to do something like that, but it didn't bother him. I can say that. It did not bother him because he was really getting my attention. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Well, let me just say, first of all and foremost, I want to thank you all for coming to the meeting today. But most of all, I want to thank you for being the Board of Election that process eyes and ears in how we conduct Houston County election process. And I thank you for that. As chairman, I want to assure you that I heard you. Matter of fact, I even heard the news and everybody's aware of the situation. And rest assured that we'll take the appropriate action to that because we will collect evidence, we'll investigate it, come back with the truth of the matter. There's a camera, thank God, at Marsa Creek. Okay, so that will be part of our investigation process. We'll take a look at all that evidence and we'll come back with the truth of discovery. And we will let that be known, okay, to what we found. And again, I thank you for the eyes and ears. And I'm going to read you what's on the Board of Election website. This is what we do. The Board of Election is responsible for conducting fair and impartial election and registering citizens to vote. The election and registration are conducted in accordance with the code, election code, so the green book right here, state election board rules, according to federal and local laws. Okay. We also have Senate Bill 202, which also amplifies and governs our action and decision making. And it discusses and covers candidates campaigning and that requirement and distance for those current sites. We take all of that into consideration. We're going to do a thorough investigation. We're not going to get ahead of our investigation. We want to make sure it's done right. We have the necessary folks to put the team together. Matter of fact, we even got a lawyer sitting over there. Amen. And that, so rest assured that we will, again, investigate this matter and get directly back to you. Okay? Since you was the genesis, we will go back to the genesis and let you know exactly what we found. And after that, you can take whatever action with the Secretary of State you deem necessary. Okay?
I want to ask, is there cameras at the pavilion, Carry Running Center also, inside and out? They asked if they could be.
That's not our problem. That's not our problem. So I don't know what type of security system they have set up there. But I will speak to this book also covers provision of balloting, and it governs when a person is directed to go to their precinct location to vote, and also when you can allow them to do a provisional ballot. All that's covered. And rest assured that I'm confident. I know that our people are trained. They train. Okay? And I have full confidence on the people who run the election. Okay? And I will validate that. I will validate that through your concerns for what you have brought forth here. I will get back to you with that.
But you didn't say anything about the camera.
So we would, yeah, there's a Dropbox in there, so there would probably be.
They got cameras? Yeah.
My recommendation would be to speak with the people that were working at the pavilion that day. A lot of us know that there's a story floating around there with the poll workers that people have not been comfortable enough to speak to the media about. I would just recommend talking to them.
So that's part of the process. We have a process.
Like I said, it's not my, my story to share, and I'm not gonna say who I heard it from.
We have a fact-finding process. Okay. Put together a committee that will go out and find the facts. Bring the facts back to the board, give you a copy of it. Okay? And we will not go on any speculation. We will not go on hearsay. We will go directly to those involved in that voting process and gather the facts.
I mean, kind of what happened with the election.
We just certified the election. They are doing the recount now, okay? You have to do that, yeah, because you have to take into consideration the provisional ballots, which we did. Okay, that has to be done, then has to be certified, go to the Secretary of State, yeah.
So in the meantime, he's the winner. Charlie Bibb is the winner in the meantime.
The
recount has not been.
Yeah, they're still doing that process now, okay?
But what we're doing here now don't have a bearing on the election, what you're saying.
For right now, that is correct. That's correct. Okay,
That's what we want.
That's what we wanted.
That's what we want to hear.
that's correct. Okay, so that process will be finished, okay?
Okay,
We'll investigate. We'll let you know what we found,
okay.
okay? If that needs to be elevated, it'll get elevated to the Secretary of State. Secretary of State will weigh into the situation and make some type of,
State election.
state election board, yeah. We'll take it from there.
So they have the final say-so, Secretary of State, or can y'all call it yourselves? What's your
The correct
investigation?
term, correct term would be, we're reporting to the Secretary of State and it goes to the state election board.
They investigate.
Okay, then they'll do their due diligence,
I think we're
put their investigation.
We're talking about two separate things. The election will be certified after the Houston County Day is done. Nothing that we've said here is gonna change that.
That's correct.
The investigation by the Secretary of State is getting for elections is for the violation of the law.
Yes,
If they can determine
But if he
that.
violated, that would terminate his position as winner?
we're not gonna speculate on what it would do.
I don't think so,
Okay.
because those people's votes should still count as they cast them.
We don't speculate on what the state board of election decides to do.
It's out of our purview.
Yeah,
It's out of our purview. They have purview over that, and they make that decision
Yeah.
based on state laws, based on the guidelines that they abide by. So make sure everything is legal.
yeah.
And they'll take the proper actions based on facts.
So in the meantime, however the election came out, that person serves.
For the recount.
Once the recount is done,
And will anything, even if whatever they find, still serve, right?
I mean, that was more.
Well,
There's
so
no,
unless-
there's nothing but a change.
So not to prolong the meeting, not to prolong the meeting with what if, a speculation or a decision, we're gonna let the process run its course. We're gonna let the truth rise to the top. We will take appropriate action. Once we get all the facts, know the truth, we will get back to you, okay?
So there you have it. Told you democracy was stupid. 50% plus one. And it's not even majority rules, really. It's majority rules of those who participate. So if you're an incumbent who has a lot of cozy connections, because you've been sitting in office for 4 or more years, obviously you're going to continue to get the majority rules to put you back in. Is this what we wanted? Is this what you want in your representative democracy? I mean, as for me and my house, we understand that this country is a republic, and this kind of thing is nonsense in the philosophy of a republic. So Please mark your calendars for December the 5th at 5:30 at the Board of Elections meeting, where their discovery will be presented to all of us, and then we can move forward from there on how to deal with Charlie Bibbity Bibb Bibb breaking, allegedly, election law. And again, if you or anyone you know happen to be eyewitnesses to Charlie Bibb potentially or allegedly violating the law, we encourage you to file a police report and let them do an investigation. We know that Kristen Kiefer of the Houston County Democrat Party is doing her due diligence to hold Charlie Bibbity Bibb Bibb accountable. And we look forward to seeing you there, along with Wartown roving reporter Rick the Recycling Bin. Until next time, guys, participate. Because if you don't participate, this is the kind of thing that's just going to keep happening over and over and over again. Your rights are going to be trampled over. Your voice is going to be trampled over. And, nobody's going to make a squeak about things like this if you don't start standing up and speaking up and making things known. So until next time, stay well, peace, and laugh, because mob rule is destroying our country. Later.
Beep, 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 beep. Live from Wellston, Georgia, it's another episode of the Wartown Times. Be sure to stay up to date by joining the Wartown Times Facebook group on the Facebook.